Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of HomeKit Insider. You've got me, as always, your host, Andrew O'Hara. Welcome. This is going to be a fun episode because yet another episode of Andrew talks for like 35 minutes without taking a breath. Always some of my favorites. Again, we do have some exciting upcoming episodes, including the CEO of Ecobee stopping by. I have received a few questions, so if you guys have more questions you want me to ask during that episode, be sure to hit me up. You can find me on Twitter at Andrew_OSU. Of course, you can just leave comments on the YouTube video of this, youtube.com/HomeKit Insider. You can throw them up there, or just email me, Andrew@appleinsider.com. That always works as well. So, let's get into the news for this episode. Starting off, I mentioned this last week, the Nanoleaf light strip. This is a new light strip that they have launched. Technically, it's called the Matter Smart Multicolor HD light strip. It comes in a 16.4 foot or 5 meter length. It's going to run you $69.99. This kind of showed up as a YouTube video saying we're launching this product, but there was no other real press behind it, and it also wasn't actually live on the Nanoleaf website. Well, apparently that's been rectified. It is now live. You can find it on the Nanoleaf website. It is also linked here in the show notes if you prefer to go that route. So yeah, if you're looking for this, it is available. So just another new light strip, Wi-Fi enabled, I believe, works with Matter, all that stuff. Details in the last episode. So next up, LG. They are the very first TV manufacturer to add native support for Dolby Atmos with Apple Music. So it's a very specific thing. So it's native support for Dolby Atmos with Apple Music directly on the TV itself. To be clear, you could still do this before. Like, it's not like a wholly new thing that is like been developed here, but it is interesting that it's been added natively. If you were using an Apple TV, you were good. There was no reason to stop you before. You could just use it through the Apple TV, but if you were using the native TV's interface and you were using that Apple Music app, cool. Now you've got Atmos support, which is pretty great. Love to see additional support added. Next up in the news, Merros, our friends at Merros, they have a new smart plug launching. So this is a Matter-enabled smart plug. Basically, it is a new version of their existing smart plug, but it's slimmer. So this is the MSS315. You can find it, link in the show notes, all that stuff. Wi-Fi enabled smart plug, Matter enabled, but it's shorter. So you can easily plug two of these into an outlet. They've got like 6 different designs, and of course it matters where you are in the world, what plug you're using, but just a little bit more of a compact form factor allows you to more easily plug 2 of these into a standard US outlet. So if you're in the market for these are just now launching, so you can go pick those up. Continuing with the new product releases, we're 3 minutes into this episode, folks, and we got like 3 product releases down. So Aqara is launching the Night series of smart switches, the Night series or the Night Q1 series, but it's only limited to China. I wouldn't be too upset about this though. It's not much of an actual new product. It's kind of like it's a tweaked design. It looks like from the Z1 Pro. So the Q1 is more square. It's more sharp angles. To me, it looks a little bit more modern, maybe, than the Z1 Pro that was already out there. So like this isn't a huge thing. But if you're in China and you thought, man, those Z1 Pro models, they're too rounded off for me on the corners. Well, now you have the Q1 to check out. So that is an option. This one, next up on the list, I find very interesting. I cannot say that it's a new product, so I'm not saying that, but it's something to talk about. I have not ordered anything off of Aliexpress in a long time. I actually ordered, I was going to put this in the last week's episode, and I might as well talk about it here briefly instead of doing a whole segment about it, but I had ordered these. If you're watching the video, it's a set of AirPods with a janky screen on the front of them. And I got these like direct from the factory, did a video up on YouTube about it, and now I'm seeing all these influencers hawk these things for like $35, $40. Everyone's like, oh man, Apple's gonna add a new display to AirPods Pro. You can get these because they're way better and they're available now. None of those things are really true. So maybe don't. Sorry, almost sneezed, so we paused for a second, but I did not sneeze. These are terrible. They sound awful. They barely work, though they do mimic a lot of features of AirPods. But yeah, you can get stuff like this off of like Alibaba and Aliexpress. But there's also apparently some like legitimate products that I find interesting. So including where this whole thing was going is to this new, or maybe new, air quality monitor. So it's $53, which is listed at an MSRP of like over $100. $53. It appears to have an aluminum body to it, but I can't say with certainty. It's like, it's like a space gray color, looks metal. For all I know, it is aluminum, but they don't specify the material in the description of it. But it does have a touch screen that's an OLED, so an OLED touch screen on there. I believe they say it's Wi-Fi in there, but I'm also seeing things about it being Bluetooth, so I'm not 100%. It is battery powered though, and it's rechargeable via USB-C. So if it is in fact actually like Wi-Fi, I would be very concerned about that battery life, because battery life is going to get crippled on Wi-Fi using HomeKit. So my guess is this is probably Bluetooth, if anything. But yeah, so $53. OLED touchscreen built in, Bluetooth, battery powered, USB-C recharging. There are 5 sensors in here. So CO2 for how like fresh your air is, PM 2.5 and PM 10. So those are going to be 2 different types of particles and VOCs that's going to detect in your air, things like pollen, dander, all that stuff. So those 2 sensors. Then there's a temperature and a humidity sensor in there. So total of 5 sensors built into this thing. They also have a little color changing indicator right on the front, so it gives you a visual clue as to your air quality. If the screen wasn't enough, there's a visual color changing indicator from green to red based on how your air looks. So that's also really interesting. It's made by a company called Qingping, and I have not heard of them before, but they're boasting HomeKit certification. So I go and check, and sure enough, it's actually listed on Apple's website as something they have verified, tested, and signed off on as being HomeKit certified. So maybe this thing is actually legit, but for $53, this seems like a decent price for this, and I'm really liking the features. Like, the screen looks really nice. I like the appearance of the product. It's set as the chapter art for this chapter if you're listening to the podcast. I really like it. There's also a second one from the same company, also on AliExpress, that is a thread version with an e-ink display, a coin cell battery on the inside that's supposed to last a year, that'll just do temperature and humidity. So that one is like $15 or something. Thread, temperature, humidity, e-ink, battery powered, cell coin battery. But both of these I find super curious. If anybody takes the jump on these, let me know. I do have the links in the show notes. If you are gutsy enough to buy from AliExpress and test these for yourself, report back on how they do. I might have to get that multi-sensor because it looks so nice, and apparently I just need more sensors in my house. I really do not, folks. But I kind of want to try it. I do kind of want to try it, but if anyone else beats me to it, let me know. Curious. Next up, in the news, Ring. Ring has launched a new camera. It is a pan and tilt camera, comes in fun colors, including pink, as Jennifer Toohey liked to point out, and it is not HomeKit. Don't be excited, it's still not HomeKit. Maybe Matter support one day will bring us HomeKit on Ring, but until then, I'd just like to point out that they still have not brought HomeKit yet, despite their promises, repeated promises that have still never materialized. But talking about companies who have supported HomeKit and have done a great job with it, this is a little bit of bittersweet news, but I just thought it was interesting. So ahead of Ecobee stopping by the show, they have announced that their OG thermostat will no longer be receiving updates. This thing launched in 2008, their very first smart thermostat, which looks super dated, by the way. I mean, it came out quite a bit ago, like a long time ago, almost 20 years ago. So of course it looks dated compared to what they're putting out today in terms of thermostats. But yeah, this is I love the fact that this was actually rolling for this long, still receiving updates, and it's finally being kind of end of life. It's still going to work nothing's going to change, still going to work, which is awesome. You can buy a piece of tech and have it last that long. So I think it's super cool. But yeah, it is going to be end of life, no longer receiving new updates. Shifting topics a little bit, MagSafe. So there's these new MagSafe molds that were coming out, or new iPhone molds that were coming out of China, and they appear to show a change to the MagSafe array. And this is, I think, interesting for a couple things. First, we talk about MagSafe on the show. Got a hands-on for you guys in a few. But we talk about MagSafe on the show a lot. Between standby and Apple's, rumored smart displays that are coming, we talk about it. You also have to charge all your tech and everything. So we talk about MagSafe. But it looks like they're changing the way the magnets are aligned on the iPhone 16 lineup. And there was some people talking about how this was going to really affect accessories. I don't think that's going to be the case. The alignment appears to be the same. The only thing that's different is they look thinner. It looks like Apple maybe sourced some thinner magnets to use on their new phones. Now, obviously, like you buy a case right now, there's those magnets inside of it, whether it's from Apple or third parties. And then you have the accessories that also have magnets built in. They all connect together really nicely. I don't think this is going to have any impact on that whatsoever. Apple maybe just got thinner magnets that are strong enough, like stronger magnets, and then made them smaller so they have more space in the phones. Like, if anything, I don't think we're going to have any impact on accessories, chargers, anything like that. So no need to worry, but it is interesting to see how Apple is kind of changing these things. I 100% believe that iPhone 16 will have full backward compatibility support for all MagSafe accessories and Qi2 accessories. You don't have to worry about it at all. Now, before we get into our hands-on, it's time that we thank our sponsor for the episode, Shopify. I love Shopify so much. I just made a purchase 2 days ago, and of course I'm checking out, boom, it's Shopify. I knew it right away, and I immediately have this feeling that I'm buying from a trusted source. It was a new website, and when you're buying from a new website, what's that payment process? Who are you giving your card information to? When you go through Shopify, you can trust them as a consumer. They are baked into so many different websites, so it is trusted the minute you get to that checkout process. Plus, Shopify makes it easy for those consumers because they support all these different methods of payments, from Google Pay to Apple Pay to just entering that payment information. I love it. And then when you're done, you can view that order status at any time. You can kick it over to the Shop app where you can track your order from the time you submit it to the time it's fulfilled to its shipping to arriving at your door, and you can even leave a review after the fact through the Shop app. Everything about it is just so smooth and streamlined. And on the developer and merchant side of things, they've got you covered there as well. Do all the things you want to do as a merchant, reward loyalty, be able to give out coupons or discount codes or shop credits. All that stuff is supported through Shopify. It's amazing and so easy to implement and move your website to. There is a reason so many websites build stuff and launch their websites via Shopify. Other things that I absolutely love that they have put so nicely in all these notes for me. So global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. That part is key because it's not just for huge companies. If you're small, you don't have to be afraid. It's great for startup companies as well. If you're a big company, don't worry. It can scale to your size as well too. Just everything about it is wonderful no matter what stage of business you're in. Plus, I also like that it works for all these different types of goods. Digital goods, physical goods, all of that stuff. Shopify's got you covered. So they help turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, up to 36% better compared to other leading e-commerce platforms. You can sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and it's the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. So here's what you guys can do. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/HomeKit, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/HomeKit now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/HomeKit. As always, thank you to Shopify for sponsoring this episode, this podcast. You guys make it happen. So Got a hands-on for you guys right here. It's from Satechi. We talked about it. I had to try it out. Satechi's new Qi2 charging stand. I will tell you before I even pick this thing up or show it to you, nicer than I thought. Like, legitimately, whenever I see items in marketing pictures or on boxes, I have this feeling that it's not metal, and it's just like plastic that is painted or colored to look like metal, because they're trying to do like a cheaper version of Apple's space gray. So like, I was pretty happy when I had looked through like the product specs, and it's like using like recycled aluminum. I'm like, wow, that's not only is it aluminum, it's using recycled aluminum, which is even better. So I got this thing in here. It does include like the cable and everything else. But let's look at the charger itself. So this is a folding charger. This is it. It gets quite tiny when it's all folded up like this. I'm going to get the camera to pay attention to it. It's not the smallest travel charger I've seen. We've seen much smaller travel chargers, but it does a pretty good job. Like, when it gets this thin, you're probably fine. It can easily slip into a pocket in between your clothes, whatever. So opening it up, the back opens up completely straight, so 90 degrees on the back. Then you have a good degree of tilt on the MagSafe or the Qi2 coil itself. It goes perfectly flat at the top. Why should it go perfectly flat at the top? When it can go perfectly flat, you can charge any Qi device. So even if they don't support the alignment magnets of Qi2, you could just place like an Android phone, because Android still doesn't support Qi2. You could place it on the top here. Wonderful. So you can charge those, then it pivots down to completely vertical. So you've got like a 90-degree field of motion with the charging puck right there on the top. You can tilt it, is kind of probably like the nicer one, like move forward a little bit, tilt it back. You can get everything in a nice angle that you want for your work. So obviously your phone snaps on there. It has a soft touch like silicone surface to the Qi2 coil. Puts on there, your phone works great. I can rotate it easily. It all feels nice and sturdy. I'm not worried at all about my phone kind of falling off. This goes bedside. You're not going to have any problems with it whatsoever. Really nice and minimalistic. The bottom has this leather material. It is a fake leather, pleather, eco leather, whatever term you want to use. All I can do is confirm that it feels very nice. It is really soft to the touch. Your fake AirPods can go in your fake leather right there and just nestle down. So those will sit there. This is their 2-in-1, as I mentioned. The 3-in-1 is completely sold out. That thing sold out so quick, so everyone liked that a lot. But the only difference is with the 3-in-1 is the back of it has your Apple Watch puck. So this opens up, and then that will slide out the back, pop open, put your Apple Watch there, fast charging for Apple Watch. So that's your 3-in-1. Honestly, I kind of wish the 2-in-1 had the Apple Watch charger built in. Like, maybe they put that at the bottom and then ditched the AirPods one. And I'll tell you why. The AirPods one is basically not at all useful. It's really not. It should not be included in these chargers for a number of reasons. So first off, if you're using like a relatively new set of AirPods, you can charge via like Qi, right? You got wireless charging built in, so it can go right there on the top. You don't need a second charging pad because the top piece can go perfectly flat. So just set your AirPods there and you're good to go. You're done. But if you have like an older set or whatever that's still using Qi, or not even an older one, but you can put it on your Apple Watch puck. So the new ones can charge via Qi, they can charge via MagSafe or Qi2, and they can charge via Apple Watch puck. So you can put your AirPods like on any other spot on here that you don't need this extra charging pad. Personally, I am never like AirPods last so long that I will have time to put them on one of these two spots when I'm in like the hotel room or wherever I'm staying, that I don't need that extra Qi pad at the bottom. I understand some people do, but if it was me and I had a 2-in-1, I would want a 2-in-1 with just the Qi2/MagSafe and Apple Watch. Ditch this superfluous Qi charger. I think the reason they put them on here a lot is because a regular slow 5-watt Qi charger is just stupid cheap. Like, they barely add any cost to this, so why not put it there? But I would just rather have the 2-in-1, make it a little bit smaller, get rid of the extra stuff. That's just my opinion. If you guys have other ones, let me know. But I like this. There's a link for it in the show notes. Definitely higher on my list of Qi 2 chargers that have launched so far, and I'm sure we're going to have so many more. Continuing. So another kind of, this isn't a hands-on. This is a mix between a hands-on and a bunch of information, an info drop combined with the hands-on. So recently, I've gotten the new Roborock S8 MaxV Ultra, which is their top-of-the-line flagship vacuum. This is the one that debuted at CES. It's got a little robotic arm that comes out and cleans things in the corners and can mop in the corners. And then it goes and has a whole separate cleaning spot for just the little mop. It takes care of that for you. It also does the edge-to-edge mopping where it can really get up against the edge when it's mopping to do that. Has the redesigned dock that just has the clean and dirty water on the top. In the front is where you'll find the relocated bag for the dustbin emptying. Also has a container for the cleaning solution, which it will mix for you, so you don't have to worry about adding that into the liquid whenever you're filling it up. So they kind of take care of everything. Pretty excited about this. They have the remote camera built back into this one because that wasn't in the S8 Pro Ultra that we had reviewed last, so I'm glad that that's back. And it has a built-in assistant, so you can say, hey, Rocky, do this stuff for me, and it'll do it. But one of the biggest things that was excited and they were touting a lot is Matter support. And last week, they revealed that the S8 MaxV Ultra is the very first robotic vacuum cleaner to achieve full Matter certification. Huge. Huge. The thing is, you can't do anything with it. Just because this supports Matter doesn't mean any of the ecosystems do. And that kind of brings us to the crux of the matter of this discussion. What is going on with Matter 1.2? So 1.2, announced a while ago now, it came out before CES, it was last year, and we're now 6 months past that date, and still, no ecosystems support Matter 1.2. So we have Roborock here to market, we have other devices coming to market with Matter that are not supported in Amazon Assistant, Google Assistant, Samsung SmartThings, or Apple HomeKit. It's completely absent. Chris Lepre, who I think is chief of technology at the CSA, who oversees Matter, had even kind of gave us a hint to this when he was on the show a while ago, saying that devices will probably arrive before ecosystem support. Now, when he said this, I anticipated like by a few weeks, a month. I'm not so certain anymore, and I'm getting, frankly, nervous at how the future of Matter is going to deal with these updates. So, the Ambient says that they have heard rumors from a couple sources that SmartThings will be getting support for Matter 1.2 by the end of June. That's 2 months. 2 months until SmartThings add support. And Apple, Amazon, and Google have all been completely silent as far as their support goes. Apple has its own stuff coming up at WWDC. If Apple announces support at WWDC as an iOS 18 feature, that means Apple will not be adding support for Matter 1.2 until September, almost a year after it officially launched, was announced, revealed. That is a very slow pace to add support, and it's honestly a big bummer. I mean, Apple has been working with Matter. They're part of the CSA. They're helping develop this spec. I would assume that their support would be coming not far after, like, the spec is finalized. Like, they're testing it along the way. It shouldn't, to me, it wouldn't be as huge of a deal to roll that out afterward. The fact that we're potentially looking at a year delay is so disheartening to, to the hope that Matter brought everyone. We have some small hope, like the SwitchBot Hub 2 that I talked about a while ago that was updated with support for Matter for a bunch of new devices. That also includes the K10 Plus and the S10, their two robotic vacuums. And they kind of made them work temporarily for now. They'll actually show in the home app as Matter devices, but they show as on and off switches. So you can't control what they do, their modes, anything like that. You can just turn them on, it sends them out, and off, which brings them home. Not a lot to do. Not a lot to do there, and it's definitely, half-baked support, which is a huge bummer. That's frankly what it is without, trying to mix up my verbiage with some more colorful language. But it sucks. It really sucks, and I thought with Matter coming, we would see things happen quicker. Apple and everyone's working together. It should not be this slow. So I don't mean to, complain about it, but this is just, the timeline that I feel like we're realistically looking at to gain support for Matter 1.2. Mind you, Matter is supposed to be releasing quarterly updates, right? Or quarterly, tri-yearly, whatever it is, even bi-yearly. Say it's 2 a year. We should see another Matter update coming relatively soon. Chris LePray teased that. It was coming soon. But if Apple is taking a year to add every time a new release comes out, it's going to keep pushing these deadlines further and further away. So things are going to need to speed up if this is going to be at all actually achievable for Apple and the other smart home ecosystems to pull off and support. I saw a bunch of people even very confused in some subreddits asking about the Roborock, saying that they wanted to return it because it didn't support Matter, but it does. And it's just these ecosystems that are dragging their feet, and I'm not sure what particular is causing that delay, but I don't love it. So that's kind of a general update on how Matter support is coming. I think it'll be very exciting to see, and if we do get this support in iOS 18 right away at WWDC, you can be sure I'll be downloading that beta. Hopefully I can add the Roborock to it, and I'll try it out. So you guys will be first to know come June if that's the case. Frankly, I can't even figure out how to put the thing into pairing mode. I did reach out to Roborock for more information, just out of curiosity, because I do run SmartThings, so I could try this to spin it up as SmartThings when SmartThings adds this in 2 months. But at that point, I'll have iOS 18 and maybe support there too. So we'll have to see how this all progresses. But that's kind of where we're at. So rounding out this episode, last thing that I want to talk about, more of another opinion factor thing. I just want to get your guys' thoughts about this because I'm working on another video for Apple Insider, another kind of long form rumor round of video. And we were talking about the Apple TV, which is honestly one of my pet products that I adore. I love it so much. And we were talking about what we would like to see in a revamped version. And frankly, there was only a couple little things that stuck out as low-hanging fruit. First, processor, right? Apple needs to, of course, up the processor. There have been long-standing rumors that Apple has these high hopes for gaming on all of its devices. We're seeing the launch of the new Assassin's Creed Mirage very soon. That was announced and it's going to be dropping supposedly June 10th, the same day as WWDC's keynote. So that could be timed up there coincidentally. But Apple has, I remember years ago reading this rumor that Apple wanted to develop its own, not clone, but its own game similar to the last Zelda, like Breath of the Wild. And they wanted their own version of that they could tout for Apple Arcade. That would be essentially a AAA popular mass appeal game that everyone was going to love. And yet we've seen nothing but, frankly, minor mobile games. And it's been quite disappointing. So either way, processor bump to go along with Apple's dreams that never seem to fully realize. But a processor bump seems to make sense. We also could see maybe as a stretch 8K support go along with it, but I think that's probably too early because no one has 8K TVs in terms of mass market, so I don't think that's going to be a selling point. I don't think Apple needs to jump to that yet. They were slow on the 4K transition. I don't think they're going to be super fast to 8K either, but I think a processor makes sense. Second thing is maybe a U1 chip in the remote and maybe tying onto that a speaker, because the current implementation with Bluetooth works fairly well, but you still need the speaker. You can get in a general area. I watched my friend try to find his remote, and he could not find it. It needs a speaker built in. So I think adding maybe a U1 plus a speaker into the remote would make sense. But other than that, I don't know what features Apple could realistically add for an updated Apple TV. So I'm calling on all of you. What would you guys like to see? I know a lot of you out there love Apple TV. Tell me what updates you would like to see in a new version of it. And we could go extreme. I mean, there has been all these random rumors of Apple creating a soundbar situation, maybe different pairing with HomePods to set up like 4 of them and create a true, 3D Atmos situation. Maybe you could ceiling mount some HomePods for that real Atmos setup if you wanted to get crazy like that way. I don't know. Let me know all the ways that I mentioned at the beginning of this episode. Andrew at appleinsider.com, twitter.com/Andrew_OSU, or just comments on the YouTube of this video. So that wraps up this episode. Thanks again to Shopify for sponsoring this episode. Do all the things that you guys do best. Go ahead and leave us a 5, 10, 100-star review on your podcast platform of choice, including Apple Podcasts. Go to youtube.com/HomeKit Insider to watch the video of this one, including the hands-on with the new Satechi Qi2 charger. You can see that for yourself, as well as these like knockoff-looking AirPods with a janky screen built in, because I know you want to see that. You can just also check out the article or video I did on it if you care that much. But anyway, stay tuned for future episodes. I love all of you guys very much. We'll catch you in the next episode.